guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Welcome to Season 8, Episode 53 of Let's Go Blues Radio. Erica Weston's favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, February 19th, 2020. This is franchise episode number 239 all the time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Kurt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure, for the next little while, we'll be talking Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues hockey. To interact with the show on social media, you can follow the show on Twitter at LGB Radio. My handle is at Kurt Price, Bill's is at Billy Blue Note, and Jeff's is at JPonder94. You can follow us on Instagram, like us on the Facebook, and of course, you can go to our YouTube channel where this show is broadcast live every week. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notifications when we do go live each week. For those of you watching the live show right now on YouTube, you can comment in the live chat to my left. The website is letsgoblues.com, where you can listen or watch past episodes, browse the fan discussion forum, as well as get some cool St. Louis Blues themed T-shirts that help support the show. And if you want to do us all a favor, and if you see something that you like that we put out there on social media, go ahead and share it, post links to it in Blues Facebook groups or wherever. Because the more people that see our show, the more people we grow, and the more we can offer everyone. So,
wait, we grow people?
we is that what I said? We grow people. Who knows what goes on in the utility room of my house? I don't know. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'm not going to say. But we appreciate it. Don't forget to check out our current giveaway, a contest at letsgoblues.com. You have to go to letsgoblues.com to enter. It's in the forums. You can win a 2020 All-Star Game rally towel, as well as some Blues Stag Beer mashup stickers that we also sell on the site. So we're giving those away. So let's go to letsgoblues.com, click on the forums link, read the post about the contest, and then enter to win. It's 100% free, and we'll pick a winner and announce it right here on Let's Go Blues Radio next week, February 26th, on the show that we have tentatively scheduled to do, which I guess we have to do now because I've said so.
Yes.
Wednesday the 26th.
No more choices.
No more. That's it. That's all we got.
Yep.
Jeff and Bill, welcome to this week's show. How are you guys tonight?
Pretty well. I thought you were going to introduce our new Twitter handles, though. You are at Kurt Price NHL.
Yeah, it's to make the show more legit. I am now Kurt Price NHL. We all have NHL in caps. Right. At the end of our Twitter handles to
right.
What did you say mine should be? J Ponder NHL 94?
Yeah, well, that would be the best one, but yes. We all said that you would go with J Ponder 94 NHL.
Yes.
Of course. That's
because,
more legit.
Yeah. We all know that if you put NHL in your Twitter handle, you instantly become legit. Right?
That's so I'm told.
So the kids are doing nowadays.
That's the way I see it. Yep. So what's been up with you boys? Anything interesting happened in the last week?
Same old stuff. Nothing new for me personally. Just trying to weather the blues funk, and that's about it.
It's been the worst funk. Well,
yeah, the last year.
But results-wise, the play over the last 3 games has been really good.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree completely, and we can get into that. Are you going to Mardi Gras? Is that this weekend? Parade this weekend? Mardi Gras? No, guys?
No, don't do that.
I did that one time, and honestly, that was the one time my friends decided that I was the DD, and because of that, I will never go again because I had a terrible time.
Yeah, I can imagine being a designated driver at an event like Mardi Gras might not be the best time.
No,
that's what you just call Dan Buffa, and he'll give you a
yeah.
ride.
In retrospect, I think that's what I'll do next time, if there is a next time.
Yeah, it's funny. I have I attended Mardi Gras just the one time years ago, and a buddy of mine had at a place right down in Soulard there where all the action was, and we were supposed to bring beer to his party like a couple days before because you couldn't bring beer into the neighborhood, and so we were going to do that, and you know how guys are, we just didn't do it, and the day of we decided we wanted to bring beer. So my cousin and I had this brilliant idea to put the beer bottles in one of those insulated casserole dish container things, wrap them in newspaper, so they wouldn't clang together, and then put it in a box and wrap it up like a gift, like a present. So, and we paraded a couple presents right by all the police officers that were kind of, around the perimeter and whatnot, and right into his apartment because my friend guaranteed me that we would not be able to sneak beer into his place because they had it locked down. And we walked in with 2 gifts, and he goes, "What are those?" And we opened it, and there was beer, and he started laughing. I thought it was genius.
Nice.
I mean, what cop is going to stop
good.
you? What cop is going to stop you and open up a present to see if it's beer? Who's going to do that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Genius idea.
Yeah.
Somebody is stealing that idea from you right now, and we'll be doing that this weekend.
Is that still the rule down there where you can't bring in beer?
Oh, I have no idea. That's pretty good, though. I like that.
That's, I thought it was pretty good. I'm pretty proud of that. And that was a long time ago.
It's pretty amazing what alcoholics will do to get their beer.
Or their beads. That's
that too.
Because that was the purpose of bringing the beer.
That was the purpose of bringing the beer, and
Of course.
I had a strawberry daiquiri from the party, because it was free.
Kurt just didn't drink beer.
Not at all. No one drinking right
Did
here.
you have your Bud Light Orange as well?
No, they didn't have Bud Light Orange like 15 years ago, whenever that was. But no, I had a strawberry daiquiri from the party because they were giving them out. And I had one. I took it down in the street, and some girl said, "Hey, can I have that strawberry daiquiri?" And I'm like, we both know how this is going to go. So she proceeded to remove her shirt, and I proceeded to give her my strawberry daiquiri. And the transaction was made, and it was a handshake deal, and we both went about our business.
Good.
So it was a good
Glad
time.
things worked out.
Yeah, and I went upstairs and got another strawberry daiquiri and went back down to the street.
So
St.
would you
Louis.
characterize that transaction as all profit for you?
Oh yeah,
You just paid for the daiquiri.
there's no overhead for me personally. So it was a strictly profit deal. It was a win-win situation for me.
Okay, well, I have one. I'll tell a story. Mine's more St. Patrick's Day, but it's irrelevant. This was when I was like 21, 22. We had my buddy still has a house right at the parade route, real close to Tam Avenue, and so he had a big party, and I had parked in basically the opposite side of the route. So if I wanted to cross, I had to literally walk like a mile and a half the other way. So I said, you know what, screw that. I'm going to find a way to get across, and I'll just wait between floats or whatever. And it felt, and somebody told me this was something straight out of a Mentos commercial from the 90s. So I was on one side, my buddy's on the other, and he's waving at me, saying, "Dude, we got a keg. We're good to go over here. Like, have fun over there by yourself." And so then I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk behind one of the floats for 5-10 steps, and then just cross over. Cops won't notice, right? So I did that. I get behind one of the floats. I'm waving. I've got a couple like beads and just random stuff with me, and I'm throwing them in the crowd. And I'm like, "Hey, everybody, ha ha!" And then I just walk across, and I go over. And the security guard does grab me and goes, "Come on, man, I know you're not part of the parade route. Get back over there." And I go, "Man, there's a keg on this side. Come on." And he goes, "All right, just don't do it again." So I got away with it. I feel like if I wouldn't have played the part, maybe he would have actually gotten a little more pissed at me.
Bill, do you have any stories?
No, I'm boring.
Bill's old and boring. Or just boring.
Just boring.
Just boring.
Just boring.
I went too far.
Yeah. Wait till next week.
Right.
Because I will be older next week.
Well, I'm going down Saturday to Mardi Gras. So
you're not Jamie Benn.
no, I'm not. I'm not Jamie Ben.
I get it. I see
Jamie
what you
Ben-
did.
Jamie Ben don't do that. So the rumor goes. So
You bringing a lady?
as
Going with a
legend
couple
has it.
guys? What are you doing?
No, Amy and I are going. I don't know who else is going. You guys are welcome to come along and at some point, but I can go see the parade and then go do whatever people do down there. So
I'll have to see. I have like 5 straight days off, so
I imagine it's going to be a day of drinking afterwards. So that's how it's going to go.
there's that.
Yeah, which is always fun.
Yeah, I spent a day drinking with you folks
Yeah.
a week and a half ago. That was pretty fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a good time. Speaking of drinking, the official beers of episode 239 are as follows. Bill, what do you got?
The greatest coffee beer ever made. Founders Espresso KBS. Had it on the show a few weeks back. Absolutely love this beer. There's no better coffee stout that has ever been made. End
Right.
of story.
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
End of story.
Bold strategy. I like it. Jeff, what's yours?
Oh, hey. So I'm going with one of my old favorites. Actually, I don't think I've had this show on the show in a while. Urban Chestnut, Fantasyland, Midwest Coast IPA Ale. Not much of an IPA guy, to be honest, but this one has just tickled my fancy. Fantasyland, noun, a place or circumstance existing only in the imagination or as an ideal dream world. Origin, Midwest Coast of the United States. Need we say more? Prost.
Midwest Coast, meaning Mississippi.
Yeah,
Yes.
basically.
Very nice.
You better watch out with that Prost, because Panger's gonna try and trademark that, and he'll text you.
Every time
tell
I
you
see
how wrong
Prost
you
now,
are.
that's what I think of.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is that my beer is the first time I've had this beer ever. It is Sam Adams Cold Snap. It's a white ale by Sam Adams, and it's good. It's got some orange peel in it and spices. It's a fine beer. It almost tastes kind of summery in a way, but it's kind of a winter thing. So it's nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
enjoy it.
Amy was talking when we were out that's her favorite winter beer.
Yeah, and this was one of hers that she was left over. So I was like, oh, I'll take this. It's good. It also matches, which is mentioned on Twitter, matches my wall, the color of my wall more or less,
And
as
your
well does
shirt.
your
and the
shirt.
shirt that I have on.
Kurt
Which-
is
The YouTube show there, Bennington, the Bennington shirt in the letsgoblues.com shop. So you could, this is available for purchase in the letsgoblues.com
If
shop.
we're going to do this, I might as well do the same thing.
Yeah, you have one on too.
Yeah.
Different shirt.
Oh, I do. So my shirt, God, I can never get this right.
Contort yourself.
Look like I'm pooching it out. Yeah. One is not enough. That's Vladimir Tarasenko's quote about the Stanley Cup. So yeah, there. Oh, look at that! Look at that.
Yeah.
Kurt's,
Back to back.
or Bill's just kind of sitting there in the middle, while the two of us are look like we're flexing or something. But yeah, if you're tuning in right now, you're like, what the hell is going on? But this is a great shirt. Again, find it over at the letsgoblues.com shop. Just got this yesterday. Great fabric, very comfortable, and very well designed.
And the print quality is fantastic because we mentioned a number of weeks ago we moved to a new printer, a new supplier, and the print quality is vastly superior. It was kind of hit or miss with the old supplier, so we had some issues with that, so we switched. And this has been amazing. I couldn't be happier with it. So if you're listening on the podcast, check out the YouTube show or check out letsgoblues.com if you want to see these shirts. They're nice, quite nice.
Yeah, I just need to negotiate more T-shirts into my next contract, and then I'll be happy to participate.
Brandon
we'll see
Toma
how it goes.
says, looks like you guys are trying to get some beads.
Yeah, we could both remove our shirts and then we would have to pay a beads fee for doing that. I think it works the opposite for certain people.
Yeah, Mr. Blues Hat brings up a good point. I don't know how he knew this. Bill is wearing something from the bikini thong line. It says, "What the Falk." So, yeah, you can't see that on Bill right now, but he is wearing that.
Boy,
Right.
Falk is taking a beating.
Next Speedo show.
Falk is taking a
Yeah,
beating.
yep.
So before we get into the show's topics, today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, February 19th, 2011, Eric Johnson and Jay McClement traded to the Colorado Avalanche by the St. Louis Blues for Kevin Shattenkirk and Chris Stewart. Stewart scores 2 goals, and Shattenkirk with an assist in the Blues' 9-3 win over Anaheim that same night. This trade, I think Eric Johnson had some bad PR here in St. Louis, and I don't think he ever really got on track with fans here. But at the time, and for me, this was a really good trade for the Blues for a while. But recently, this trade has panned out a little better and is tipped towards Colorado's favor. But Shattenkirk was a beast in the offensive zone, and Stewart for a short time here, he was a player. He scored some big goals.
You're way off. You're way off, Kurt.
Oh, am I?
Shattenkirk turned in to Zach Sanford, who was part of the Cup-winning team and recently scored 4 goals. So obviously the Blues won that trade.
I'm gonna okay. I'll leave. I'm not gonna touch that. But
to be honest though, you talking about the trade at first. Remember Peter Stastny's comments when that trade went down, because Paul was still a member of the Avalanche, and he was very upset. Said that this set the Avalanche back by like 5 years or something. I mean. Yeah. He was very upset about it.
I soured on Stewart. I think the following season,
Everybody did.
Yeah, he was
the kind of guy, like his career in Colorado got off to just a blazing start. Put up a ton of goals, fought a whole bunch, and he was a force. And then he kind of tailed off, and that's why he was available for that trade. Got here, did the same thing. Mm-hmm. And he's just bounced around. I mean, he's Philly now, right? He's still,
he's still playing,
still bouncing around. But never really lived up to the hype that we had all built up for him.
He had like bits and spurts of play and actually, I want to say a good chunk of time, and Dallas just scored a good chunk of time. After he got here, he was good. I thought really good. But yeah, he was. I think he kept saying over and over again when he was questioned about his lack of production and basically disappearing on the ice. You'd hear him say, "I got to be better. I got to turn it up. I got to kick it up a notch. I got to be better. Got to be a better player." And it was always the same line, and he never did it. It was just I could not stand the guy. He just disappeared. It was almost like he just didn't put forth the effort needed to compete at this level. He had the skills, and I don't want to say he wasn't trying, because I hate to say that about players because everyone's trying out there, but it just didn't seem like he had the desire to play to his full potential. I don't know.
Jimmy Anderson, I'm not going to read the last part of your comment there. Stewart had some sick hands, but he fell off the earth. That's where I'm going to leave it. Yeah. Let's just leave it at that.
Anybody who wants to see what Austin said can check out the YouTube chat later
That's
on.
That's Jimmy, not Austin.
Yeah,
Austin would never say such a thing.
Anderson.
He's too good of a Christian high school boy. Right, Austin?
February 19th.
I was just going to add on this one real quick that, I thought when they made this trade that both Johnson and McClement were going to be out of Colorado within 2-3 years. Johnson's had a pretty decent career over there, so good for him.
Yeah, that was my point about the trade recently being nice for Colorado, because they have a serviceable guy now that's just playing well.
He never developed into the superstar number one defenseman. Make you forget Chris Pronger, like JD sold him to us. And wait, who was it that got drafted after him? Jonathan Toews.
Oh yeah, Toews and Backstrom and Stahl, right?
Jordan Stahl
and Phil Kessel.
Yeah, that was kind of
let's also add in that deal I remember because, we'd say we won that all the time, and then Avalanche fans would say, well, let's see how the draft picks pan out. Well, we have Duncan Siemens was who they selected, and Ty Ratty was who the Blues selected, and neither really panned out.
Call it a wash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
February 19th, 1989, the St. Louis Blues unveiled the jersey patch in honor of the late Dan Kelly. The first mention of John Kelly joining the St. Louis Blues broadcast team appeared in the Post-Dispatch, as speculated as far as favorite to take over for Dan Kelly. So that was, 89. That was long. That doesn't seem that long ago.
It's crazy. There's those that follow my YouTube channel know that I've been posting some really old games, and with the help of STL Blues History, I've been able to post some games from the 80s and 90s. And hearing a young John Kelly step in and do some of the commentating is interesting. You can tell that he has groomed his game a little bit into what he is now. Not that he was bad, but just a little rough around the edges, still kind of getting the feel for the NHL game. And there was one game where him and Ken Wilson actually switched off periods, like you would hear in the baseball KMOX broadcast right now with Mike Shannon and whoever else is in the booth with him. So yeah, pretty cool. It's weird hearing John Kelly call a game from like 1989, 1990, because you're like, oh, that's who the Blues have now.
And I imagine his voice is up probably 2 octaves then too.
Yeah.
He's young and enthusiastic, and
Very young, very enthusiastic for sure.
I vaguely recall those. I'll have to watch some of the uploads again.
Last regular season game of 1990, I believe I have on there, and that was one that he called the whole game.
February 19th, 1977, Bernie Federko recorded his second career NHL hat trick and his 10th NHL game in the St. Louis Blues 4-0 win over the Washington Capitals. And he also included a starting lineup sheet or a roster for it was sponsored by Stagbury in the tweet, which is just a fantastic look. I don't know what it is about advertising nowadays compared to days of long ago. It's not like the Voltron intro, but I dig vintage advertising, man. It just looks sweet. The little Stag beer sponsoring the Blues, I guess from the program. It's awesome.
If you also look closely at that program, an interesting name you'll see on the Capitals, Ace Bailey, one of the gentlemen that we lost in the 9/11 tragedy. So interesting to see his name on that sheet.
Yeah, Bob Gassoff, who also we lost. Bruce Affleck, Bob Plager, Patey, Unger.
I like how
Berenson.
they listed the head trainer for the teams. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. They got general manager, coach, and then head trainer.
Which, to be honest, I don't think trainers get enough credit.
No, they don't.
Barilli, he's been around for a long time, so I think his name is well known, and I think he gets a fair amount of credit. But yeah, you don't really hear a lot about trainers, and it's the work they do is just so. Just last week with Bouwmeester, just unheralded work they do.
And
Agree.
the fact that the Caps head trainer's name was Gump Embro, only in hockey.
Doesn't that sound like that sounds like a bad college nickname for somebody? Yo, here's my boy Gump Embro.
He's got to be from Sweden, right? Gump Embro or something. That sounds like a Swedish name.
Gump
Let's look him
Worsley?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No.
All right.
It's Gump was a nickname before the Tom Hanks movie.
Is it a nickname or a name?
Pretty sure it was a nickname.
Okay, I was thinking. All right, maybe you're right. Maybe.
Oh well, Mr. Embro has passed away, unfortunately.
Oh.
Well, if he was head trainer with the Capitals in '77,
2006.
What's his
Looks
nationality?
like it's saying there he's a Baltimore hockey legend. So I guess also survived by his Canadian family. Okay.
So from Canada.
So yeah, Canadians.
either that
Swedish.
or he was one of those guys that had a family in Baltimore and one up in Canada. Had
Unbeknownst
off-season
to one,
family.
they wouldn't know each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the Swedish part, the Swedish corner of Canada that he came from. Rapid fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't you know? Rapid
Don't
fire
you know?
tidbits from around the NHL. The NHL TV ratings for the Kings and Avalanche, the outdoor game, the least watched NHL outdoor game on NBC out of 21 telecasts, and least watched NHL game ever on primetime broadcast TV. Saturday's primetime Kings Avalanche game drew only 1 million viewers on NBC. That's a bad number.
That's terrible.
1 million? We got
That
300
can't
million
be
people
right,
in this
can it?
country? And that counts Canada too? Whew.
Does it count Canada?
It's
I don't
NBC,
think that.
so
I don't
guess
think
not.
that
I
counts
guess not.
Canada.
Okay.
No.
No.
No. It was rebroadcast.
That's
in
bad,
Canada.
though.
It's maybe on Rogers or something. Or had to be
Yeah.
Sportsnet.
It's probably
Yeah.
on Rogers, I'm sure.
Yeah.
1 million. That's awful.
That's bad. That is really bad.
Well, you know what? That whole thing was a shit show. It makes you appreciate how good a job they did here in St. Louis with the Winter Classic. They said people couldn't get to the game.
Because
The traffic was just
well,
awful.
Right. I mean, it's down in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, there's no
highway.
the veins
right?
going to the arena or the stadium were just
Right.
They couldn't handle it.
Right. Going from Denver to the Air Force Academy. I mean,
And that's really on the NHL because the NHL should not have approved that site if that was the case. That should have been a thing that was looked at.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about Super Bowl, granted the Super Bowl is a vastly different thing, but still with the Super Bowl they analyze everything. The hotels, restaurants, accommodations, highways, everything.
right.
you know what I guarantee it was? It was that, hey, NHL, we'll slice some dough over your way. Just, go ahead and give us this game. Okay, you got it.
But they can get dough
'Cause
from
that
anywhere.
seems to be how the NHL is just operates.
but
they can get
I
dough
mean-
from anywhere. Anybody would like to have that game.
I don't know. A couple of thoughts here. The second outdoor game of the season has just been a bad idea all around. The Stadium Series, I mean, just from the jersey design, no matter who's playing in it, every time that the Kings have played in it, 2 or 3 times, and their jerseys are just god awful. The jerseys both teams wore in this they're just we covered it on a few shows ago when they released them. They're just ugly.
Yeah,
And just trying to
blame the ratings on the jerseys because nobody wanted to watch those things.
Yeah, that could be part of it, and I'm sure the folks over at Hockey by Design are probably making that argument right now. But trying to make it new and fresh, if you have to try to do that and you swing and miss and only get 1 million viewers, I think it's time to bring an end to the Stadium Series game.
I'm not
That
against.
is, if TV viewership actually means anything to the NHL. If they get the money, if they get the revenue,
Yeah, but
from the actual game,
I don't
okay,
think
maybe.
I don't. Yeah, but okay, but viewership, television ratings, drive advertising prices for future games, and future television contracts, and stuff like that. So they should care about ratings because that's something that isn't. The ratings aren't going to necessarily make them any more money, like the day of, the event or because of this event, but it's going to affect. It might affect future events as far as money they can make.
So wait, you're telling me that you expect the NHL to think about the future? Because there's talk they may not go to China for the Olympics. You're telling me that,
they're going to China.
They actually think of the future?
They're. And I'm not.
Oh, they're
saying,
going to China. I agree. 100% they're going to
I'm-
China. But still,
Yeah, I agree. But I think. I'm just saying I don't think that I think they care about ratings. That's my point. I think that the ratings for the show, the last Winter Classic, may affect future advertising dollars they can get for. Now I don't for what percentage they get as a kickback from NBCSN or whoever broadcasts the outdoor games. I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm sure they get something. But whatever.
you know what I think they should do? Because it's obvious that NBC doesn't really want to include Canadian teams, and for their benefit, I get it. So I would be fine if they said, that there's a Winter Classic and then a Heritage Classic, and that could just be the Canadian teams.
And
I'd be fine with that. Because
are you
those
talking
things still
those-
do really well. The Canadian outdoor games, they'll still do really well in Canada.
Right. They played in Regina this last time.
Yeah.
And who doesn't
they,
like
they do
Regina?
that. It's just the Detroit Red Wings swept the Canadians for the first time in franchise history, went going 4-0-0. I bring it up because our resident Habs fan is not too happy. Red Wings are a minus 105 in goal differential this season so far, and are dead last in the NHL with only 34 points, a 15-43-4 record, a full 100 goals in the goal differential, worse than Montreal. And they beat Montreal 4 times in 4 attempts this season.
So I think the real question here is, how did Marco Scandella do in that series?
That's a good question.
He won the series because he got out before that last game.
he didn't have to suffer through that, right?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I watched the first 2 of the games, and it made the other 2 not even interesting to me. And just checked the score last night. Didn't turn it on or anything. Saw Montreal's up 3-1. I'm like, oh, finally. And then Detroit goes 3-rip in the third period, and yeah, God, it's fucking embarrassing.
Fucking embarrassing. Where is the search players? There we go.
Oh, I just looked him up. He's played in 1 game, if that's what you're looking at.
Oh, against Detroit? Okay.
Against Detroit, he was a -1. That's the only stat he has.
All right.
Average 16.55 on ice.
All right. The Chicago Blackhawks.
Hey, real quick, before we continue, we got some comments we should probably get to real quick. The Avs and Kings played an outdoor game? ? Yeah, that's again, NHL really knows how to publicize their games. That's for sure.
And that goes into they have too many of them, because people kind of lose. Even your diehard fans, they lose track of these things. Oh, that's right. There's a game tonight, or shoot, you you're flipping around. Oh, it's halfway over, and you just kind of forget that there's a game tonight. That one. When it was just the Winter Classic, everyone knew when it was. Now you've got multiple games a year, and it's kind of things get lost in the fold a little bit, I think.
Blues 3531 says, haven't watched a Stadium Series game in years. Winter Classic, sure, because I know when it's happening. The rest of them I don't care about unless the Blues get another ha-ha. Josh Webster, they should have a Winter Classic game in Africa. And then Mr. Blues Hat says, Regina. Austin Lynch, for Heritage, I would love to see Habs versus Leafs and Winter Classic, Blues versus Wings. And then one more comment I wanted to get to with Austin up here. He says, so I'm going to Disney World in 3 weeks. Do I stay up till 2 a.m. Eastern time to listen to the best podcast in the NHL and be miserable the next day, or wait? I think I'm going to stay up till 2 a.m.
Is that a trick question? Come on. You stay up, you listen to the show, you get more informed. I was at Disney World during the final, the NHL, when the Blues were playing the Bruins. And I was there for games 5 and 6. So, and I left my family at Disney World to go
come back
watch
to St.
games.
Louis?
No, to go to the ESPN bar at some resort and to watch games 5 and 6 in the bar. So that's you team first.
Let's put it like this.
Team before
you said,
family.
Do you be miserable the next day was part of your question. You know what? Although Jimmy Anderson here is going to say the exact opposite of what I said. You just don't go to Disney. You'll be miserable regardless. I was going to say you're in the happiest place on earth. So it doesn't matter how little sleep you get. You're still going to be happy the next day.
Disney World's, I don't care who you are. It's fantastic. I've been twice, and
I've been once.
Some people go a lot, and it is ridiculously expensive. And I've said this to people, but when you go and you're there, you spend a lot of money, but you do not feel like you are ripped off. You can okay, this place is expensive, but yeah, it's kind of worth it. There's a lot here, and it's impressive looking. I mean, the attention to detail in Disney World is crazy. So Frank Cusimano tweeted out, "This is stunning." Yesterday, this isn't necessarily around the NHL. This is, but still, this is stunning. Yesterday, the XFL Battlehawks and the St. Louis Blues played at the same time. The football game had a TV rating in our town of 6.0. The hockey game had a 3.1, both on cable TV. So, and I think, Jeff, you wanted to comment on this? This tweet
Yeah,
from
I'm
Frank
sure you
Cusimano?
guys do too. But I'm sure I'm going to say the same thing you guys are thinking. This is a brand new XFL. This is the second week, and let's add in the fact too that the Battlehawks won the first game they played. So that's going to drum up interest alone, let alone it being one game a week. So, it's not like the Battlehawks had another game 2 nights later. Oh, I'll catch them then. It's, I missed that first game. Maybe I'm going to watch the second one. And plus, this isn't a Stanley Cup playoff game. This is a regular season game in February. And let's face it, Blues are struggling right now, so that instantly is going to make people say, you know what, I'm going to tune into the Battlehawks and see what that's like. I'm fine with him making that tweet aware of, oh, hey, everybody, here's what the football team did, here's what the hockey team did, kind of crazy, both on cable TV. The way he worded that to me, and Kurt, I think you kind of said this to Bill and I before the show, it's like, haha, look, we're still a football town. No, that's really, to me, not what that's saying. To me, it's a new product. People are going to tune in more. Why don't we see what this will look like in 4 to 5 weeks?
I think this town would easily support a football team that gives a shit. They've proven that in the past. I think that I don't think that needs to be lost in this conversation. The St. Louis is a good football town. But as far as what Frank Cusimano is implying here is kind of a twisting of the facts here as far as what's going on.
Right. Requires much context.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a second game of the Battlehawks. People are interested more so than usual. Like you said, a Blues regular season game in February. Right. Against the Devils, who suck.
And Frank would just defend it as, I'm promoting St. Louis and what a great sports town we are.
And I get it, because Cusimano, if you pay attention to Cusimano's shtick, he's this is fine, a proud St. Louisan, and he loves to dog on Kroenke and the Rams. Loves it.
And
LA.
the NFL.
And the NFL in general, which is fine. And I agree with him completely on almost everything he says about that. But this needs context, like you said, Bill. Paul Bissonnette and Daniel Carcillo hate each other. For those who haven't paid attention, it's a rather drama-filled, childish keyboard warrior pissing match between two former NHL players. Keyboard tough guys on Twitter. So you might want to check that out. It's rather interesting, somewhat entertaining, I guess. Carcillo has a history of being a complete douchebag off the ice, on the ice, trying to clean up his act. Apparently, is trying to make amends, whatever. Bissonnette has a successful podcast, the Spit and Chiclet Show, and they don't get along. Bissonnette's calling out Carcillo for being a racist in the past, I guess, and wearing swastikas, and it's very. It's like, wow, holy cow, the stuff is coming out. And Roenick tries to jump in. Did you see this? Roenick?
Yes.
Roenick's
a moron.
Me too. Hey, I'm alive. Posts a picture of him kind of like jumping Carcillo from behind during a brawl or something during a game.
Yeah,
So,
real good look, by the way.
I know, right?
Right. And I think that just furthers what we were talking about last week, where that Roenick is going to become the hockey face of Barstool Sports, which right now that position is occupied by Ryan Whitney and Paul Bissonnette.
Which I think they would gladly take on Roenick. He's a bigger name.
Yeah.
He's a much bigger
Yeah,
name.
I agree.
And he's a Boston douchebag. So there you go.
Much better player, too, in his day. So, I mean, Roenick is a fringe Hall of Famer, hasn't gotten in yet. So, I mean, Bissonnette, not anywhere close. He was a goon.
Right.
So.
Yep. Same with, Whitney was just a mediocre D-man. So.
Right.
No, and I'll say with this, I said this to you, as weird as it sounds, because I never liked Daniel Carcillo. If I'm going to take a side, I'm actually taking his, because this to me feels like something, and this is, people are going to disagree with me on this, and that's fine. I felt like the stuff that Bissonnette brought up, that's locker room stuff. You don't bring that out unless you are truly offended and you're, taking legal action, or a past teammate's taking legal action. The stuff he brought up, I felt was just, hey, you're a douchebag. I'm going to show everyone how big of a douchebag you were. This happened in the locker room. It's not like he did it to a fan. It's not like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's okay, some of the stuff that he's accusing him of, but that just felt like something that did not need to be brought out in a public forum. And the stuff Carcillo said right after, with taking a picture of his family and saying, "Oh, their lives were threatened by Paul Bissonnette, so I'm going to make sure and take precaution." Then why are you taking pictures of your family and posting them on Twitter, idiot? Like, this whole thing was just so ridiculous, overblown, and they're just being two giant babies. And then, of course, like you guys said, Ronick jumping in, "Please pay attention to me too."
I'm here. Hello.
Oh God.
I never liked either one of these players. It's why I don't really pay attention to them now too much. Like you, Jeff, I don't listen to Spit and Chicklets that much, even though it's very popular. I just don't care to associate with Barstool Sports that much. So it is what it is. Okay, so Blues news. Marco Scandella. Yesterday, the St. Louis Blues acquired Marco Scandella from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for a second-round draft pick in this year's draft and a conditional fourth-round draft pick in next year's draft. The fourth-round pick in 2021 kicks in if the Blues re-sign Scandella, who will be an unrestricted free agent on July 1st, or if the Blues win 2 rounds in the playoffs and he plays in at least 50% of the games. The 6'3", 212-pound Scandella was Minnesota's second-round pick in 2008 and spent 7 seasons with the Wild before being traded to Buffalo in 2017. He played 3 seasons with the Sabres before they dealt him to Montreal for a fourth-round pick on January 2nd, which was only a month and a half ago. Armstrong said Blues assistant coach Mike Van Ryn worked with Marco in the Minnesota Wild organization, so he has a good feeling for him. We view him to be the type of player that we lost. Bouwmeester was a rangy player, had a great stick, killed plays down low, a simple first-pass player. Marco is a good skater. I don't think he's an elite skater like Bo was in his prime, but he has a powerful shot. I just think the way our team plays, having those big, rangy, difficult players to play against, fits into what we're doing. So Doug Armstrong said his focus going into the trade deadline shifted from a top 6 forward to the blue line after Bouwmeester suffered a cardiac episode last week in Anaheim, and it was known he'd miss the remainder of the season. So some fans are up in arms about the increase in cost that we paid for Scandella over what Montreal paid to get him a month and a half ago. What do you guys? First off,
let me. I want Bill to comment mostly because Bill had a lot to say about Scandella last week. So Bill, I want to get to you in a minute, but all I want to add before that is not talking about Scandella himself, but for the people who are saying, well, look at Buffalo. They just moved him for a fourth-round pick on January 2nd, so just a little over a month ago. Now he's turned into a second-round pick and a conditional fourth. What does that say about Armstrong? You know what that says to me? It says to me that is the team in Buffalo that gave up the Conn Smythe Trophy winner for Patrick Berglund, Vladimir Sobotka, and Tage Thompson. So to me, that has no merit. I don't care what he was acquired for just a month and a half ago. First of all, the closer you get to the deadline, the more prices are going to go up. So that's just going to happen. And two, again, Jason Botterill, GM of the Buffalo Sabres, has proven to be completely incompetent in the past. So to me, that makes me think he could have held on a little longer and probably gotten a better draft pick as opposed to what Montreal, or at least to what got Montreal, what he landed Montreal. So just a bad trade, in my opinion, by Botterill more than it is a bad trade for the Blues. But you guys might disagree.
I know, Bill. You said you thought Montreal got good value.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can, essentially flip picks, because that's what they did. They flipped a fourth to get a second and replace the fourth if the conditions are met. I mean, it's an easy trade. So Montreal acquired Scandella when they had an outside thought that maybe we can push for a playoff spot. Montreal's having a shit season, and Claude Julien is not an NHL caliber coach anymore.
But he speaks French.
He does.
Oui, oui.
And
Omelette de fromage. It's my only French that I know. They have a different word for everything over there. You know that?
Not everything, because
Those French have a different word for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Mulaney.
Mr. Steve Martin.
Oh, that's
Steve Martin. That's classic.
the voice
right.
you did it in.
I was trying to think of
Mulaney,
who that
though.
was.
That's wild and crazy guy, Steve Martin.
Yeah, but the voice you did it in. That was
Right.
Mulaney.
I'm surprised I didn't do Mitch Hedberg or Brian Regan, because
Yeah.
I slip into those a lot.
It's a horse.
It's a horse.
It's a hospital.
There's a horse.
I didn't know he knew how to do that.
Julien. I pin the Canadians' failures this year mostly on Bergevin and Julien. You take a talented player like Jesperi Kotkaniemi and you don't put him in a position to succeed, put him in a position to fail, and you send him down to Laval because he's just not cutting the mustard. Just the old school mentality of Julien. It's time for the Canadians to move on and bring in the next retread, because Bergevin doesn't have the balls to bring in a Kirk Muller or somebody who's gonna actually play the kids.
They got to speak French.
What's up?
Bill knows some French.
They got to speak French. Yeah, Bill, come
Muller.
on. You and I can take over.
Yeah, oui. C'est simple.
We
Yeah. I know French. David Perron.
just say we a lot. That's all. It's all it takes.
No, we David Perron.
No,
That's
in
all French.
In Montreal, you have to greet everybody bonjour, hi.
Bonjour, hi.
Yeah. But no, it's Kirk Muller would qualify because he played there forever and was an assistant there forever. He knows the language. Anyway, rant over. The trade actually works out pretty well for them because, like I said, it's basically a flip of picks. They brought Scandella in to try to help for a playoff push that didn't materialize. They flipped him, got a higher pick. The Blues are going to pay that higher price because we're closer to the deadline. We have a greater need.
Close to deadline, greater need. We lost out on Dylan.
Right.
So, assuming we were in on Dylan, which apparently we were, and we didn't want to give up a second and a third.
Right.
So I think a lot of people don't like what we gave up because of what was given up for Dylan, second and a third. Dylan being the more talented of the two, to some degree.
But
But
the part of the trade that is getting little attention is Montreal retaining $2
Right.
million.
That's-
right? 50% of the salary.
and that's what I was going to say. That's huge in that our offer, what we gave them, second round pick and a conditional fourth, and it was because they retained half of his salary, which allows us a little more cap space, which then allows us to do something possibly before the deadline or at the deadline.
Right.
Offense, as far as the top six forward goes. So that's
Right.
that gives us play, which we had to have.
Right. And the other name that we talked about a lot last week besides Dylan and Scandella was Alec Martinez. And he got dealt
Today.
for 2 second picks. When you're looking at just that aspect of it, giving up another second round pick isn't that much higher on a player that I actually think is probably better than Scandella. But there was no retention of salary.
Right.
And Martinez
Right, yeah.
has another year.
Right.
So
Yep.
I
that
don't-
would be the breaking point, I think. With we talked about this last week with Petrangelo's contract coming up. I think you had to have some kind of salary retained if you're going to go after a Martinez, and obviously Vegas wasn't as worried about it as the Blues are heading into next year.
And I mean, I think the biggest thing to me about that trade is the surprise that Vegas and LA are willing to trade.
Yeah, to actually talk.
Yeah, division.
Well, to me, it just says how far out the Kings are from competing.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean, they don't care because they're just like, By the time we get good, you guys are going to suck. Martinez will be retired, so we don't care.
You guys, I know, Jeff, you saw it. Bill, did you see the article in Game Time written by the Capital NHL guy?
No.
It was about the trade, and he basically called it the worst move Armstrong's ever made as a Blues GM.
False.
Yeah, it's patently false. It's a wildly stupid statement. And so the long write up on why Scandella is a terrible acquisition, which is filled with advanced stats and just whatever. No eye test stuff in there at all, really. But he also failed to mention in this long ass article anything about salary retention for Montreal. Nothing. And he complains about what we gave up compared to Dylan, And so I'm like, how is
those
terrible article?
Awful.
Right.
Along those lines, the thing that I think a lot of people now, if this was 2-3 years ago, and we saw Doug Armstrong trading draft picks constantly, and we talked about it on this show how when he left Dallas, he left them without a championship and basically no draft picks and a bunch of aging veterans. So that was the look the Blues were getting, and it was, oh boy, he's going to get fired, and the Blues are going to look the exact same thing that Dallas was looking at when he was fired from them. But we have a championship now. St. Louis has a Stanley Cup championship. So, one, he gets a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Two, the window's open. So, as much as you want to hold on to your draft picks, a second-round pick, you're talking 3 years probably tops.
Right.
5 years more likely before that player starts really becoming a possible impact top 9 forward, top 6 D. And what's the point at that point? Your window is probably closed at that point, so go for it while you can.
I agree with you completely. It's like the talk around town is, this is our window. We're going for it in this window. But then you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, yeah, we're going for it in this window. No, we don't want to deal any picks or prospects.
Yep.
And any moves. We don't want to stay at the top or near the top. We don't want to hold on to our defending champ status at that cost. So you're either going for it in the window or you're not. And the Blues are going for it, which is why I think that they're probably going to make it on the move. I don't understand if they don't at least try hard to improve the top 6. I'm not sure what the point was in having Buffalo. Having Montreal retain salary in this deal and giving them.
Here's an interesting
extra
question.
Pick. Because if we didn't need them to retain salary, because we weren't going to get anybody else, then why give them the extra pick? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay. Here's a quick question for Bill, more likely. Sorry, Bill, I just got your message. Is there an issue with my audio, guys?
No, you're fine. You're
Not
fine.
yours.
You're fine.
It was here local.
I see. Okay. Well, anyway, Kurt, cut that from the record. We don't want
Too
that
late.
on the podcast.
Too late. Just keep going.
No, Bill, do you know that in that original deal with Montreal, did Buffalo retain any salary there?
No,
No.
he did not.
Okay. So that's all Montreal that's retained. And that, again, I mean, listen, that's a huge part of the deal because I guarantee that Doug Armstrong, and again, we've bitched about his cap management before, but making this deal, he looked at this saying, okay, we've got to retain some salary because if we don't, we're going to be right up against the cap. We won't have room to get a top 6 guy if we want to deal a couple more draft picks or a couple more prospects. And bringing in Marco Scandella to replace Jay Bouwmeester on that second pairing, that's solid. But if you have to do it for paying the guy $4 million, that's a lot of money. We talked about that last week. But if you're going to have them retain some money, that's huge. I mean, you're getting a good defenseman for a couple draft picks, and you still have the room to go out and improve your roster more before the deadline.
Also, there was who else? If we don't get Scandella, let's say we don't want to give up what we gave up, and somebody else comes in and gets Scandella, who are we going to get? Martinez was available, but that was a higher asking price. So it's like, who are you going to get? You don't want if you don't jump on Scandella because Dylan was gone, you were on Scandella, so you lose out on Dylan, and so you turn to Scandella and get him. Dylan was your first option, didn't get him, move to Scandella, jump on him, give Montreal what they want. It's a good deal for Montreal, and I have no problem with this because if you don't get Scandella, then you've essentially, and you're not getting Martinez, you essentially got to play Mikola. So we were calling for because he was called up. You wanted to see what you had with him,
and he looked good as his
looked
previous
good. The
time
handful
up.
of starts games he played in early in the season, which is why I thought he was going to get a look here when they called him up. We all did,
right?
And but he didn't get any ice time, which is really baffling to me.
We talked about that last week. That Bacola,
right.
you're going to give him every look you can, and that seemed not to happen.
Yeah, and so if you're not going to play him, and you don't get Scandella, what are you going to do? You're gonna go to battle in the playoffs with Gunnarsson and Bouwmeester in the roster. I think you wanted
Bortuzzo.
Bortuzzo and Gunnarsson, no Bouwmeester, and Mikola. So, what are you gonna do? You had to get him, or at least. If you didn't get him, then you're going to pay more for Martinez, maybe.
Or you're going to have to wait till somebody else falls out of the picture and is willing to sell.
And hope at the deadline you can get somebody else.
And the price is going to be higher.
And I think Scandella was a good get.
Right.
Everything considered, it was a good get. I think that was fine.
Armstrong's shown that he doesn't like to go all the way up to the deadline to make his move.
Right. He's done stuff before the deadline and then done nothing on the deadline.
Right.
Which is fine because
I mean, I'm off Monday, which just it happens to be that the trade deadline now happens right around my birthday, and I always take time off around my birthday. So I'm gonna enjoy sitting around in the morning for the most part, watching nothing happening on deadline day because nothing ever happens anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Stay off Twitter because you'll see a bunch of angry Blues fans again.
You'll see fake trades, angry people.
Fuck whoever did that St. Louis Blues trade alert. Mike
with the graphic
acquired last night.
Last night?
I saw that one.
Yeah. But I mean that was my first instinct when I saw that. I'm like, fake account.
Yeah.
Look, and there's no I in Lewis.
Yeah.
Yep, they get you. That's how they get you.
I've been duped before. I retweeted something like 4 or 5 years ago. I retweeted something.
Man, when I was in the media and I retweeted something like that, and it was a fairly big trade. I remember being like, "Oh my god!" I even commented on it after I tweeted it, and then everybody started sending me fake, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" I had so many people. You're in the media. You should be ready for that kind of thing. And I'm just, shut the fuck up. You know how hard it is to miss an I when there's 15 letters in the name. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I mean, I think we're all fine with the Blues getting a Scandella. Yes. I mean, I'm not.
No, I liked it. I liked the trade. I was happy.
I was espousing it last week, right?
Yep. Yeah, and you were.
Yeah, and that's what I pointed to.
Yeah.
That's the guy. That's what I pointed to. Honestly, was Bill, a very knowledgeable hockey fan and a guy who is the backbone of the most important Blues podcast. Came out and said that he wanted Marco Scandella. So the fact that, and I'm, I know I was kind of making a joke there, but I mean, to be honest, like Bill sold me on that last week, and I said, okay, yeah, you know what, Marco Scandella, that'd be a heck of a pickup. I'd like that. And you do. You really do.
And maybe the most important point that we've glazed over here, he's Blues royalty. He's
that's true.
Sergio
Momesso.
Can we start calling him Prince Marco?
One of the best one of the best Blues names in history.
Yeah.
Sergio
Momesso was acquired in the same trade as Gaston Gingras. Two of the greatest names.
Wow.
Ron Caron acquired.
Wow.
Jimmy Anderson, Bill sitting there like Kermit sipping tea. Very nice, sir. Very nice. No, and I mean, we haven't talked a whole lot about Scandella's skill. I mean, listen, you can look at the advanced stats all day and say this guy was terrible. And yeah, I think advanced stats plays a part in the game, but it's not the end-all, be-all. You have to have a little bit of the eye test there, too. Even a guy like John Chaiko would tell you that. There has to be a little bit of an eye test that says, okay, this guy makes good outlet passes. He's good defensively. He's going to block shots when you need him to. He steps up for his teammates. From all indications that I've heard, he's an excellent locker room guy, which we know we love here in St. Louis, those great locker room guys. So I'm all for this trade. I think it's a great pickup. And again, if you're going to maybe if you move a first-round pick, I'd kind of bat an eyelash. But the fact that it's a second round and a conditional fourth, I have no problem with that. Your window's wide open to win the Stanley Cup. Replace that guy you just lost as much as you can, and go after another cup this summer.
Yeah, and honestly, from the advanced stats point of view, I haven't really done any validation of this, but the Blues Analytics Twitter account, it's not an official account by any means, but they tweeted out last night, guys, Scandella has been low-key really, really good this year.
Yes.
He's... Yeah.
On bad teams too.
Did you see what the from the letsgoblues.com that we do the embedded skater stats, and we got Scandella is according to a lot of advanced stats, in a lot of ways is a better value than Dylan, and light years better than Bouwmeester as far as advanced stats go.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth.
Right.
Which actually kind of says the opposite of what the Game Time article talked about as far as him being a terrible.
Like I said, I didn't read the Game Time article, but it sounds like the Blues didn't get that guy's guy, right?
Maybe I think it's. I mean, it sounds like he kind of contradicts himself in the article too. But it sounds like he was upset that the Blues didn't get Dylan, and then he was upset that we paid just a hair less for Scandella, who he thought was a much worse player than Dylan.
So that's kind of the sports fan mentality. I think you see a lot of that whenever there's a trade, especially around a deadline, because certain people, like, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion with Blues fans. The Blues were only going to get Brendan Dillon. And if it wasn't Brendan Dillon, it was nobody else. So if you're going to get a defenseman, it's going to be Brendan Dillon. And so when that didn't work out, was it the Dillon trade was announced, 20 minutes before the Scandella trade? They were pretty close to each other. And it was just, to me, it was like, okay, yeah, maybe the Blues got up on Dillon, and they were still having talks for Scandella, and okay, we're not going to get Dillon, let's go get this guy. And I'm fine with that. It's not like it's a second best option. It was just the other option. And for a lot of people, I think it was, well, they just knee-jerk reaction. They just panicked. Armstrong just went after someone, gave way too much for him because he didn't want anybody to swipe him from under him. And that's just not how it was. I guarantee you that Doug Armstrong didn't.
Pick is never going to be overpaying unless you're bringing in Chris Neal in the twilight of his career.
You're trading for the rights to, I can't even think of, Steve Yzerman. I mean, yeah, you're not shooting for the stars when you trade a second round pick. And
right. I mean,
it's crazy to me to see how many people were against it.
Anybody on the San Antonio roster in that trade, that's overpayment, right? But just giving up a second round draft pick to fill a sudden need on your team, it's not overpayment.
Well, and again, to be honest, if this was 3 years ago, maybe I would bat an eyelash and say, stop trading our damn draft picks. I mean, this team isn't going anywhere. Right. You're just holding on for your job to compete another year. But again, we know now, it was proven last year, the window is open for this team. So go for it as much as you can.
100%. And are we sure it wasn't like, Puck Guy 14 switching allegiances to the Blues and just pissed off that we didn't bring in a Shark? Read that article.
That's possible.
I think that happened.
Or AJ. It was probably AJ.
Yeah.
Screw that guy.
We know it was you, Eric.
All right, so Jay Bouwmeester, Army, Rutherford tweeted out today that Army and Bouwmeester have agreed to talk next week and make public a statement in 7 to 10 days about his future. So we talked at length about Bouwmeester last week. No new news really since then, other than he came back to St. Louis and is on the road to recovery, which sparked crazy speculation amongst a lot of people that he is basically working to return to the ice and the team, which
Right. Crazy
is-
speculation with serious journalists with NHL in their Twitter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you put NHL on your Twitter handle, you are. That's it. You are legit. So which is not the case. He's not. But okay. Will Jay Bouwmeester be forced to retire due to this incident and procedure he's had? Bill.
I don't like that wording,
Right.
Kurt,
Forced.
by the way.
The idea of
Yeah.
forced to retire? No. Will he elect to retire? 1,000% he should.
Here's the deal. He wouldn't be contemplating retirement right now if he hadn't had the event and procedure. That's my point. Since he had this,
Yeah.
what is this going to? Okay, will he retire because of this?
Forced has a negative connotation.
Right. It
Well, he's
does.
not. Well, I'm sure he. Of course, is forcing. It's making him do something he doesn't want to do.
It's involuntary.
What's the difference? You're picking splitting hairs.
Forced has,
Kurt.
like Jeff said, forced has a negative connotation. I agree.
It's not a
with,
positive situation.
Forced to me means
It
that
is
there
a
is
positive
somebody
situation
or
because he's
something
alive.
that is standing in his way.
There is
This
something
is-
standing in his way, and it's a
I don't
device in his
think it's-
chest. And these somebody standing in his way are the doctors that will not clear him to play. I'm just
I
saying.
disagree here.
Yeah.
How am I wrong?
You're always wrong, Kurt. You just won't admit it.
How am I wrong? Anyway, okay, I'll just rephrase.
Go ahead, Bill.
Fine.
Go
Since
ahead,
you guys
Bill.
are fucking being
We
difficult.
get it. We get the question. Shut up, Bill. Go ahead.
No, I think 1,000% he should call it a career.
Will he?
Will he? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he's just gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna wait and see how I can. I'm not gonna try to force the issue and play this year. I have to think about my family, but I'm not closing the door to my career.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens over the summer, and maybe I'll be back if they'll have me.
Okay, Jeff.
Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments here in YouTube, and they're ridiculous. First of all, our friend Puck Guy 14 is listening. He says, "That's it. We're changing my handle to @PuckGuyNHL."
It
Love
will
it.
do wonders for you. You'll get a couple of
There's
thousand
your
followers.
there's your
Yeah.
We need to start having a some type of sound bite for when I say we have a comment of the show, because that is the comment of the show right there.
That is a good idea.
Congratulations.
I'm working on a
Puck Guy
setup
14.
here where I've got some audio I can pump in a different way than usual, so it'll work better for the show. So
Let's come up with
We'll
something.
do that. We'll do that.
We'll come up with something. We'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a meeting about it,
Work on it. Yeah.
and we won't include Bill.
You never do.
Anyway, yeah, Mr. Blues hat. He will never be medically cleared. Josh Webster, you can't play contact sports with a pacemaker.
It's not a pacemaker. First off, it's not a
It's-
pacemaker.
It's
Okay,
it's a
it's close.
It's different. It's different.
Right.
It doesn't pace
Now
your
you're
heart.
ju-
It shocks
Now
your
you're
heart.
just now you're just arguing semantics here.
I'm just for the sake of accuracy. I don't want somebody hearing this show and then repeating, "Whoa, Let's Go Blues Radio said he had a pacemaker." He didn't. He does not. It's different.
It's okay. Nobody listens anyway.
That's not true at all. Listen to you. What? Did you not learn anything from Smash? Come on.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Everyone listens. We're the number one. We are the number one show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever the hell that is.
And in Erica Weston's heart.
Yes.
That's true.
We are
That
the
you know what? That is all that matters.
We're the number
right
one
there to
hockey
me.
podcast in Poland. We were for a while. That was funny.
That's
We
fantastic.
were, according
Good
to
for us.
this rating site. That was. I don't make
It's
this
because the Blues have had Jamie Pollock and Roman Polak on the team.
But not Wojtek Wolski.
stuff. No.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So Jeff,
Okay. Anyway, yeah, he's done. I mean, I think it's and the reason that I was arguing with you on saying it's forced is yes, I get your point. It is forced, but at the same time, it's not like Rich Peverly, who probably felt like he still had a ton to accomplish in his career. I feel like Jay Bouwmeester, we talked about it last show, that there was talks he might retire last year because of some of the issues he's faced. And so he's a member of the Triple Gold Club. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's been a part of some great NHL teams. He's accomplished a lot. So to say that he's going to retire forcibly, to me, was a little tough. But to say, you know what, I've had a great career. I can step aside and feel like I left nothing on the table. That is what I think he's going to do.
Yeah, I mean,
his
if there's any regret, it's stepping away from a team that's in an open window.
Sure.
Right.
No, I get it, and that's why he didn't retire after last season. Right. I mean, he talked about retiring before last season because of his injury issues.
Mm-hmm.
But he recovered from that, and thankfully he did, because he was a key part of that cup run. He contributed pretty greatly. So, but yeah, no, they're going to make an announcement in 7 to 10 days, and that's when they're going to announce that he's retiring. I'm pretty confident in that.
You gonna stake your reputation on that?
There's not much there to stake, but okay. I will. You just can't play at this level with an ICD implanted in your chest. Doctors won't clear him to play. I just don't see him returning. I can see him wanting to. I can see him recovering and skating and working to try and get back. But he's not going to be cleared to play. I can't see that happening based on the research I've done. Unless his issue is significantly different than what we think it is, which I don't know how it could be. He has an ICD implanted in his chest that wires going into his heart valves. Doctors don't recommend that you play contact sports at a high level, and this is the highest level, pretty high contact sport. No high cardiovascular activities for people with ICDs, and this would be it. So I don't know. And retire.
Yeah. I mean, it makes 100% sense that he would. I don't know. Part of me thinks that I can't recall him ever having given a press conference in his career, right? So he could get up there and just be like, whatever Doug says. I'm not comfortable speaking in public. Whatever Doug says, yeah, go with that. But I mean, yeah,
Mr. Blues Hat says, I mean, to be fair. Yeah, Bouwmeester's contract is up after the season.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So who's going to offer him a contract?
Right. I mean, the Blues would. If somebody medically cleared him,
I agree with
they
Bill.
would open him. They would welcome him back with open arms.
I don't think they would.
They would.
I don't think so. I don't. I mean,
they're not going to offer him what he was making this year, but I could see them offering him $1 million.
Will happen is he'll be given the option to, he's got a young family, right?
Yeah, but he's gonna. You're asking him to take the place of somebody else, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
What I think will happen is that he will walk away. Right, he's
right.
going to end his playing career, and the Blues are going to give him the option to be part of the organization in some capacity.
That's great,
and he'll probably take a couple years to be part of raising his family, which is tough to do when you're constantly on the road. He has a very young family. He'll focus on that, and then he will come back, and he will be a great part of an NHL organization in a coaching capacity.
It's kind of funny. He's 36. Right. He's young.
Right.
I mean, but in hockey terms, he's nearing the end.
Right.
So it's just kind of interesting to hear how old
and
he is.
especially
With
Mike Van Ryn, 36.
Right now?
Yeah.
He's
and
the assistant coach.
Especially with the fact that he started playing in the NHL, at 18 or 19?
He was pretty young.
I mean, he's been around a while, and he had that crazy long streak where he played in 10 consecutive seasons or whatever it was.
740 something games.
Yeah.
So that's going to age you pretty damn quick.
Yeah. No, and the injury has caught up with him big time.
Right.
And he struggled for a number of years here. I mean, he had a great start. Oh, great start here.
Yeah.
We talked about how fast he was, and I was like, gosh, we didn't realize how fast he was.
Go back to the shows we did at the beginning of the year. I don't know how many times I made put him out the pasture reference. Right, he was terrible.
Yeah,
but it was because
we all did.
It was because he hadn't recovered from the hip surgeries.
That plagued him for a long time.
Yeah,
and
it was December.
He was whipping boy.
I will tell you, it was December of last year when he finally got his game back.
Right,
because it was at the fucking Montreal game when I got put on the Jumbotron. I was talking about.
I've heard this story so many times.
I was talking to Julie. and just going on about how Jay Bouwmeester has turned his game around, and he's been the Blues' best defenseman over the last 10 games. And the guy in front of me, turns around and he said, "Ugly Ronaldo knows what he's talking about," right? Because but Bouwmeester had a very solid game that game, and he was he had turned it around.
Now say it again into the microphone so everybody can hear you.
No. No. You go and adjust the volume. They'll listen.
Yep.
To you.
I will.
Yeah, you're just adding more work for Kurt at the end of the show.
No, and we on this show a number of times wanted to run him out of town for what, 2 seasons?
Yeah,
at least. And that's why this comes up too, as far as since after this happened, will the Blues retire his number? People want the Blues to retire his number. Oh yeah, and is he a Hall of Famer? Yeah, oh yeah. So the next 2 things: are the Blues going to retire his number?
no.
I don't either. I don't think so. Jeff?
No.
And
I think this was a conversation on Twitter, and I brought this up. I could see them, and we joke about it with Dallas Drake when he left, and they didn't let anybody wear 10 until I think Andy McDonald showed up. They wouldn't name a captain. Come on. But I could see them doing that maybe with Jay Bouwmeester. Them saying, okay, nobody can wear 19, and I could see that going for a couple years.
A couple years,
maybe
right.
honoring his number.
A la Dallas Drake.
Right.
Yeah,
Which was
exactly.
weird because Drake just left. He didn't
Yeah,
get hurt
right.
or anything. But nobody wanted to
He
wear
was bought
9
out,
for a while.
wasn't he?
Was he? Yeah, he was.
I'm pretty sure he was bought
wasn't
out.
bought out.
No.
No, because the Blues had never done that. He was.
Yeah, they did. They did it with Jay McKee.
Did they?
That they did with Jay McKee, but that was much later. They didn't do it with Dallas Drake. Dallas Drake just walked away, took a contract in Detroit.
Either way, I think I can totally see them honoring his number because of how he left, how what happened.
Right.
But at the same time, if they do that, they really need to consider honoring Dimitra's number because I'm not sure why that hasn't happened. Granted, what happened to him and how he passed didn't happen when he was part of the organization, but still, he was a big part of this team, a fan favorite. And what's it hurt to honor a number?
Right. But the thing with Dimitra, there's been one player that's worn 38, and that was Kevin Dahlman.
So no one's worn it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
hey, real quick, I just need to flex my hockey knowledge muscles here. This is a direct quote from June 27, 2007. In what merely was a hockey decision, the St. Louis Blues have elected to buy out the remaining year left on Captain Dallas Drake's contract. So thank you. And he went out to Detroit and won a cup with them, and then he retired.
Okay. Fair enough.
The last thing I remember about Dallas Drake was him getting blown up by Dustin Byfuglien in Byfuglien's rookie season.
What the thing with retiring his number, Pronger's the announcement that Pronger is going to have his number retired next season. There was automatic speculation after that. Oh, well, who from this team is going to have their number retired? We won a cup, so surely someone gets a number retired. And there was a bunch of people saying, "Oh, David Backes has to."
No.
There was even somebody that said Pietrangelo, who has an outside shot if he re-signs here and finishes strong.
Career.
Right. That he has a shot. But people said O'Reilly. He's played 1 season. Someone said Bennington hasn't even played a full season here yet. And people wanted
to be fair, who else wants to wear 50?
Right, I guess. But still, with that said,
Chris Mason.
The retire number conversation got stupid. I mean, they wanted to give it out like it was just nothing. And I'm like,
it
come
was
on.
Toronto.
I don't think people. Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't think people. I don't think anybody that was commenting had ever really watched Pronger play. I think the fact that they're retiring Pronger's number, I don't think people realized how good he was.
God,
that had to be the case.
Right.
Had to be.
Right. Absolutely the most feared and dominant defenseman of
era.
Of an era that had big defensemen.
Abner of Lidstrom.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't dominant in the physical
Darian
sense.
Hatcher, who was dirty as fuck.
Yes. Hatcher was more of a more on the goon side, but
Right.
he was good for a few years.
Yeah, good throwing some elbows.
He was good at letting Jeff Finley jump out of the penalty box and grab him and during a fight.
That was
right?
fantastic.
Isn't that good?
I will never forget that.
great memory.
It was good.
But
No, I think I could see Petro getting his number retired
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely agree
if
with
he
that.
if he resigns.
If he resigns and stays here, Petro, the first captain to deliver a cup to the Blues, it's a
And
done deal.
His numbers are up there. I mean,
Right.
he's right at the top with as far as defensive numbers go, with the best of the best in
Right,
Blues
career
history. So,
points, he's
right,
getting
right.
up there.
So I can see that, but he's the only guy
I
that
think
was mentioned.
Vladdy's another guy that if
Tarasenko,
he's
he
has his career here, I think he eclipses a lot of the Blues records.
he's
So
but
he's a guy that could make it.
He's got a long way to go.
Yeah, he does have a long way to go,
Yeah.
and I would say he has to get 50 goals in a season once in his career.
If you think
to
about
be serious about that,
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at the numbers that are retired up there, I think there's one or two up there that are kind of like, I guess you could say Barclay Plager. I mean,
right,
why? I mean, that's up there.
right. He's heart and soul.
He's
Bobby
heart and-
Gassoff.
He's heart and soul. Well,
Gassoff
see,
is-
Gassoff though he
right.
died during a team event, so that I'm
Yeah,
not gonna complain too much about that.
Right,
That's fine.
was
I'll give you
early.
that one.
It was in the early
Honor the
years.
number. You don't need to retire
I
it.
agree
That's
with
the
you.
way I see it.
I agree with you, but if they want to retire it, I'm not going to argue and throw a stink about that one. But Barclay Plager, I thought at the time he retired, he was the franchise point leader. Spent his whole career here. It was only like 8-9 years, right? 10 years. But so he was a franchise point leader at the time, and they retired his number. So maybe you make an argument for that. I guess the franchise point leader, but
What, did they retire before
Yeah.
before or after he died?
before,
That wasn't okay.
yeah, before he died. So
You're older than me,
Oh.
so I don't remember that far back.
I don't. I can't tell if Jimmy Anderson is having a serious question here or not. Would you put Jackman over Vladdy?
No,
No.
no, not at all. Not
No.
even close. Not even close.
Well, and let's put it like this: Jackman's
falls
number
in-
is already retired anyway.
That's true. Jackman falls in the same category as Bouwmeester, but Bouwmeester's on the high end of this category, and Jackman's. I'd say that because Jackman's got longevity in games played, and Bouwmeester has He's played with the Blues a long time, and he has a lot of games played in the NHL. You mentioned his triple gold club membership. It sounds like a credit card thing,
It does.
but it's
Yeah, it does.
it's the World Junior Championship, Olympic gold, and
It's actually world championship.
World Championship, Olympic gold, and Stanley Cup. So that really didn't start until '94,
Right.
and 29 players have done it. 20 of those are not in the Hall of Fame. So this is kind of like the next is Bouwmeester Hall of Famer.
Right.
And so there were some people that made an argument for Bouwmeester making the Hall of Fame
Based solely
based
on
on, well, that was one of the talking points was Triple Gold Club. And I said the Triple Gold Club is not, it hasn't been around for 100 years. And it's not some exclusive club necessarily. It's not
Right.
what you think.
Well, and
it
this is the
Right.
NHL
Let me
Hall
throw
of Fame.
two
Kurt.
names out there that are in the Triple Gold Club. Yuri Slager.
I'm glad you got that. Thank
Yuri
you.
Slager. I know. That's
Yuri
one of the names.
Slager.
Yeah, Wikipedia has a
Right.
list of all the players that have won the
And-
Triple Gold, and they're highlighted the ones that are in the Hall of Fame,
Right.
and most of them aren't.
Right.
So-
Yuri Slager, Frederick Modine.
Right. Yeah. Frederick
Yeah.
Modine.
That guy had a hell of a slap shot. That's about it.
Now, is
Yeah.
it the Hockey Hall of Fame?
It's the hockey
Or the-
Hall
It's
of
the
Fame.
it's the
NHL Hall of
NHL
Fame.
Hall of Fame. Just ask Vladislav Tretiak. He'll tell you it's the NHL Hall of Fame.
It's
He
the-
was a draft pick of the Montreal Canadiens.
That's why he got in the Hall of Fame, because he was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens.
It's rough to make such a hardline stance on something that you're dead wrong about.
That could.
about that,
It's-
I mean, that's,
I'll tell
For those of you
that-
unaware, there was an argument going on Twitter this week that somebody called it is the NHL Hall of Fame, and it was no, sir, it's not. It is
No,
not the
it is
NHL
the
Hall of Fame.
Hockey
the Hockey Hall of Fame.
So here's a
God damn it,
possible
Paul.
Summers Jonathan.
Jonathan. That's Paul. It was
No, it was
probably
Paul
then.
that
It
said
Paul
it.
then.
It
That's
probably
what lost Paul his job.
No, I thought it was sexist comments.
It was sexist comments.
Um,
Must be nice to have Nothing.
department.
Never mind. Go ahead, Bill.
No, I was going to say a suggestion for a summer series. What could have been had Tretiak ever actually played for Montreal? I mean, Montreal is renowned for having the greatest goalies in NHL history.
Who was in net for Montreal?
Well, there
when
you
they
go.
Drafted Tretiak. Wasn't it? Was Dryden gone by then?
Dryden retired in '79. I think.
When did they draft him? Tretiak.
Right
80s?
around that time. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it
All
was. Yeah, and forget that they actually had. Was it Bunny LaRocque? Just name. There's one goalie that won the Vezina for the Canadians in the early '80s. You're like, oh, shit, didn't even know he lived. But
So, and Waugh was drafted when?
83, 84.
So if they
and
have Tretiak-
debuted 86, right?
So they have Tretiak-
Waugh may never have been.
Not in Montreal anyway.
Right.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. That is a great summer series.
Michael
show. Right there.
Larocque. Holy cow.
Michel
you're
Larocque.
right.
Yeah, Bunny.
Michel
Bunny.
Larocque.
Michel Leroux.
They call him Bunny.
Also, that was they split it. They used to split it, huh? The Vezina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
that was before the
Michel
Jennings,
Larocque,
right?
Richard Sevigny,
Mm-hmm.
and Denny Heron.
Yeah.
Bob
Wow.
Rakowski in the YouTube chat says an unidentified source told him it was the NHL Hall of Fame. That is a real
I think Bob's in
possibility.
on the joke. Good
Oh
job,
yeah,
Bob.
oh yeah. Bob's
We
around.
love you, Bob. Bob's the best. Bob gets around.
So with that said, as far as like Bouwmeester in the Hall of Fame goes, 17-year career.
I'm a no.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a no as well. In his 17-year career, he's never finished in the top 10 of Norris voting. He's only finished in the top 20 in Norris voting 3 times. And we talked about the Triple Gold Club. His games played totals don't. I mean, to be honest, they don't matter that much as far as like being a Hall of Fame, feather in your hat. His Ironman streak, while impressive, doesn't
Right.
get you into the Hall of Fame. It's not
Right.
it's something
He's
it's
won-
a
right.
side note of an otherwise Hall of Fame career.
Right.
that
He's
he might have.
won no individual hardware.
No, he's
Right?
not.
His best Norris was like 11th. He was 7th in the Calder voting.
We should ask Mike Pekka what he thinks about Bouwmeester getting in the Hall of Fame. Did you see the YouTube video of Pekka? It's on YouTube. It was I think it was TSN. He was an analyst, and they were talking about Bouwmeester back in 2010. This
Yeah.
is like 10 years ago. And he talked about how much he loved playing against Jay Bouwmeester because he was such an easy defenseman to play against.
Yeah.
He just was a soft guy. He was a great skater, but he was soft around the puck, and he was just ripping him a new one. And so he was. Pekka is not Bouwmeester's,
Biggest fan.
biggest fan.
Yeah.
So can I just? Oh, go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
Me first, Jeff.
Please. No, I want you to have it. You're better dressed than I am.
Well, I didn't. I am violating dress code for the show, and I apologize.
Yes, you are.
We wear shirts and caps at this level, son.
Sorry.
We wear shirts that match the backgrounds of our walls.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep that in mind for next week. No, I was going to say, if you go to Hockey Reference and look at the comparable players over career for Bouwmeester, the only name that I recognized on the list that could possibly be a Hall of Famer was Rod Langway. They give you like 10 or 12 names. The first name was a guy that played in like the 60s that I don't think I'd ever heard of. But yeah, Rod Langway was the only name that stood out to me. And yeah, it just, the company's just not there.
Jimmy Anderson in YouTube chat just said that Bill looks like he missed his bus to the Democratic debate tonight. That's a compliment. Bill's dressed very nice. He's got the sweater on and the collar.
He looks
shirt underneath.
good.
Yeah.
Bill always looks good though.
He looks like he should be on like an analyst on NHL Network. That's what
He
he's
looks
dressed
like he is
No.
way better than Let's Go Blues Radio.
for.
Analysts
You
on
and Catherine
NHL.
Tappan should do a show together.
Who's that?
Yeah,
Catherine
you,
Tappan.
you can talk about how Julie and Catherine Tappan are great friends, and
I was going to say she's got plans with Jeremy Roenick.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was super lazy and didn't change after work tonight. I apologize. It will happen again.
I dress nice for work, and that just it just goes to show, I guess, the difference of people we are. Because like I'm literally walking out of the building, and I rip my tie off.
Yeah,
Like,
but you
not
work
even at my
that
car
joint
yet.
that makes you wear a tie.
Yes, that's
I
true.
used
And
to
I
like-
I
I used
get
to like wearing a
home. I get home. The first thing I do is I change clothes. I won't even like say hi to my kid yet. I'll walk into my room and I'll change clothes first.
I used to like wearing a tie. I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
I
You want to change jobs?
The years and years ago, when I was a manager at a movie theater, I wore a tie, and it wasn't like formal dress. It was tie, shirt, and khakis or whatever. But it was but tie was fine. I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah. I still wear one on occasion, but it's 100% voluntary for me now.
I don't
See,
have a
my
job now.
my. You don't have a job right now?
I don't have a job now that requires me to wear a tie, so I don't. It's very casual where I work, so that's kind of nice, but still.
Your job is host of Let's Go Blues Radio, by the
Yeah.
way.
It seems like it
people
sometimes.
ask.
It seems
See,
like a
my
job.
problem is I've got this Mark McGuire neck. Like, I can't find a shirt that actually fits my neck to where I can button the top button.
When
so
you
I have
say-
to fake it every day.
When you say Mark McGuire neck, I expect to see like cottage cheese below your skin.
No,
what
I'm
I
saying
expect to
it is
see.
a massive neck like the size of my own head. That's how big my neck is.
That's Mark McGuire neck. Come on, he's got that.
All right, sorry.
Condition, I don't know
who
what it
else?
is.
Who else has a large neck? What that guy that was floating around Facebook for a while, right? That guy that was his headshot was basically a neck shot. You guys saw that, right?
Floating on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, come
Who's on Facebook
You
nowadays?
guys saw that?
Come on. My
That
grandma's
was
on
a
Facebook.
it was a shot of a guy who had like this ridiculously sized neck, and it was his mug shot. Man, I feel really dumb not being able to describe this better.
Anyway.
But he is just a guy with a very large neck. That's all that matters.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, I wanted to add. I normally don't do this because I don't like calling people out, but this was a comment. So our friends over at Two Guys One Cup, the other blues podcast out there, after you listen to Let's Go Blues Radio,
Yeah.
tune into them.
If you
They
have time.
had put out
if
a
you have time.
yeah, if you have time, if you have time, because if you do finish Let's Go Blues Radio, go ahead and re-listen.
Let's
because
be
we're that
honest.
good.
As long as our shows are, there's no time to listen to anybody else after the
Yeah, right. So they put out on Twitter, after Pronger, who do you think is the next STL Blues number to be retired? Other options in the comments, please. And they had Steen, Petrangelo, O'Reilly, Tarasenko. Petrangelo won pretty decisively in that, which, I think we can all agree with. But there was a comment in here, and again, I don't like really normally doing this, but I'm going to name his Twitter handle because if he really believes this, he should have to face the facts.
It's public.
Tim Hakala, TIMHACALA.
I am familiar with him. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk to him, I'd love to have some people debate with him. He makes some valid points, but he says Bouwmeester will definitely be the next Blue to have his number retired. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer as a member of the Triple Gold Club, and he was a key part of the Blues winning the Stanley Cup win. He's already spent more years as a Blue than with any other team. No brainer. So I take issue with a lot of that.
Yeah, being a key member of the
If
Blues
you
Stanley
want
Cup
to,
run
if
doesn't
you want to
qualify
call
you.
him, if you want to have the argument that they'll retire his number, okay. If you want to call him a Hall of Famer, okay. First ballot? You think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
He's not even close.
I don't think that is the case at all. When he retires, was it 3 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever they're eligible?
3 years.
You really think that many people are going to be like, oh, Jay Bouwmeester, there's the next guy to make it in?
He's not
Joe
even
Thornton
close.
will probably be on that list. Joe Thornton will get in. I don't know about Jay Bouwmeester.
Bouwmeester's not even close. He's not even close.
I agree.
He doesn't. The offensive numbers don't get him in. They're not even close. Defensive numbers, no. I don't. I mean, he's not a Scott Stevens shutdown defenseman. Like kind of that brutal defensive defenseman. He's not that kind of guy. He's a great skater. That doesn't get you in. He's a member of the Triple Gold Club. We talked about that. That's not. 20 of the 29 aren't in the Hall of Fame. Why is that a big plus for the Hall of Fame? Recency bias and the whole sentimental vote is getting in people's brains. Let's step back and think for a second about this and analyze his career as a whole. And just just a season and a half ago, we were railing on him for 2 years here because he just wasn't effective. So I don't get this.
And I don't want to take anything away from Bouwmeester's accomplishments. He's, first of all, he's an NHL defenseman. That's better than any of the three of us will ever say about ourselves. And he's had some great time. I mean, he was we talked about the Triple Gold Club. That is an elite group for him to be involved in. But to say he is a first ballot Hall of Famer, that's a little much. I think even Jay Bouwmeester would tell you, yeah, that's probably not talking about me because I'm not a first ballot guy.
That's not that far away. Save the tweet and tweet him in 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Overall Hockey Hall of Fame, no. In the good old Canadian boy Hall of Fame, if Don Cherry were the voting member, absolutely. I mean, his career for Canada, World Juniors, World Championships, Olympic gold, absolutely. And we're not saying that J-Bo is not a great player.
No,
he's just not Hall of Fame caliber.
He was a very good defenseman.
He belongs in the very good Hall of Fame.
Overall, yeah, the Hall of Fame is for the best of the best. There's only 400 and some odd members, I think it is. 411 members. In the history of the NHL, there's 411 people in the Hall of Fame. And you're saying Jay Bouwmeester in 3 years is in the top 400 something of all time. Chris Pronger made the 100 greatest players in NHL history list. So and people were commenting about, oh, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, or he shouldn't have his number retired for the Blues. He spent most of his career here, did some great things here, and is listed as the 100 of the 100 greatest players in the NHL. Pronger is a no-brainer number retired here, and it's puzzling to me what people are putting importance on. And like Bill said, he was a very good defenseman, but he's just not at that level for Hall of Fame or number retiring. It's just not. It's not a knock on him, but that's a hard thing to get. That's the elite of the elite is supposed to be, or very special cases. And I don't think he fits in.
Let me add that a lot of people in the chat are mentioning the thick neck guy, so I'm not the only one that recalls that. Thank you, everybody. Josh Webster, when we were having this discussion about first ballot Hall of Famer, he says, I just threw up in my mouth. Bob Rakowski says, hard no. Blues 3-5-3-1, 0 chance of that happening. Josh Webster, it's a no from me, dog. Randy Jackson. So I think most people would agree with that. And again, I hate to just call out one person with that, but that was an egregious comment to put out there.
You know what? Yeah, if you make a public statement on a public forum, which Twitter is, you can talk about it. You're putting it out there. I mean, you obviously want it to be seen, so you talk about it publicly. That's fine. Okay.
I'm posting thick neck guy right now on Twitter, just so you know.
I'm waiting.
And so the Blues did end their 5-game losing streak after going 0-3-2 in the last 5 and only winning 2 of the last 12. The Blues got back in the win column last night with a 3-0 win versus New Jersey. They came to town at the right time as the Blues had beaten them 11 straight times, and now that makes 12 straight wins versus New Jersey. Maybe some payback for the Scott Stevens and Brendan Shanahan fiasco. We're going on a roll against New Jersey. Maybe. I don't know. 12 straight wins is nice. It's a shame. Lou
and
Lamoriello,
stealing Martin Brodeur.
Yeah, right. At his in his prime. It's a shame Lamoriello. It's a shame Lamoriello isn't still in New Jersey to enjoy this beatdown by the Blues. Solid game start to finish for the Blues, I thought, although it seemed like this game was, for a while, was going to seem like a carbon copy of a number of games recently where they played very well, if not dominated the game, and just couldn't score. I thought Domingue was very good in this game.
He was, but doesn't that make you? I don't want to take anything away from Domingue, but didn't that make you feel a little uneasy? The fact that he had such a good game against the Blues, and I know you watch the game, and for us, even guys who studied the game, we we look at that and we say, well, yeah, he had an unbelievable game. The Blues had so many chances. But, I mean, with the recent struggles included, the fact that they could only pot 3 goals on Louis Domingue and a bad New Jersey defense, that was a little unsettling for me.
There was that one shot that Domingue got ridiculously lucky. Who was it? Was it Schwartz or Thomas? I can't recall.
The one across the crease?
The butt end save.
Yeah, I think that was Schwartz.
He flailed, and it just, I mean, it was a completely lucky save. Just bad puck luck for the Blues, to be honest. I mean, that's not a save. The goalie is, trying to make it with his butt end. It just happens. I don't know. I mean, it's 3 goals. It's fine. Should have been more, but to be honest, Domingue made. It wasn't like he just played well. He made 3 or 4 really good saves. Right. I mean, like highlight reel stuff.
Somebody on Twitter last night, I don't know who it was, but somebody made the point that he's playing like get me the hell out of this organization.
Well,
contender pick me up.
Yeah,
he was 21-5 with Tampa last year. Now he goes to New Jersey.
and he's played terrible lately, especially. But
and can I walk back to a point that you made about bad puck luck on the butt end save?
Yes.
I love making those saves.
I'm saying you throw your stuff out there hoping to hit something. Right. I get it.
Right.
I get it.
But it happens. It works more often than it doesn't.
I know, but it's not like he's out there trying to make the butt end save.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Come on.
Yes, he is.
Come on. So after the game, they asked him about that save and say, "Yeah, I thought I'd get my butt end on it, and I did."
What else is he going to put at it?
I think in that situation,
what else is he going to put at it?
I mean, you're the goalie. You're the goalie. But I'm going to say that I think in this situation, it's a desperation, throw whatever I can out there and hope it hits it.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
It is.
But when it goes to the butt end, that's just kind of like you don't know where the puck's going. So you're just like, and it hits at the butt end. It could have, I mean, he didn't stick the butt end in the way of the puck.
Right.
The puck hit the butt end.
It wasn't about precision. It was about getting something the fuck in the way of the puck.
I get what you're saying. I understand.
Which is what
I understand that aspect of it.
Goalie should do.
I get it. But I think
clearly
think
here, Bill is right, Kurt is wrong.
I think as far as the Blues are concerned, that's just kind of bad luck.
No, that's actually a point that I made in discussing the recent run of Blues games with people at work. There has been no puck luck for the Blues. Kelly kind of referred to it in the broadcast last night about just how we've really we've turned mediocre goalies into great goalies, or we've hit a string of hot goalies since the All-Star break. I mean, you go back to, and Kelly's point was, you go back to the game against Vancouver and Thatcher Demko. Like, this is the second game that he's stolen from the Blues this year. And Connor Hellebuck was so much better in the game. Pekka Rinne, Binnington and Rinne in the second game of the back-to-back over the weekend were both exceptional. Mm-hmm. And I blame that. I blame that loss on Justin Falk. Why? I know we're not going to break down the Nashville series and the Nashville game, but that one play, the game-winning goal, the shot by Turris, why the fuck does Falk not stop where he is and cut off the lane instead of taking it?
I've not been concerned really during this whole 12-game issue we've had because we've won 2 in the 12. There were 3 or 4 games we played very well, dominated a couple of them completely, and just didn't get the win. I mean, if those go in our favor, which normally they would, it's about a 500 record or so over the last 12 games or whatever. So I don't think it's as big a deal as people are making it. Granted, and the goaltending wasn't up to snuff most of the way. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't like it wasn't a great deal either. So,
and now Dallas has caught us.
Right, Dallas and Colorado.
Well, Dallas is even with us on points.
They
now,
just caught us tonight, right? Yeah. And Colorado
2 games in hand.
2 games in hand, 3 points down.
They were winning before your internet went down.
Yeah. Well, my Wi-Fi went down. My internet, my corded internet is fine.
Yeah. But yeah, it was 2-0 over the Isles for Colorado.
Okay. I'm just responding to Jeff. My internet's fine, Jeff. I think.
Unless you can't hear us. Can you hear us?
Jeff can't hear us.
Huh.
That's weird.
Huh.
Can anybody in the YouTube chat hear us? That's a question.
Are we just a couple of monkeys fucking a football here?
It still says we're on. So, oh, there we go. Bring it back in. There we go. I think your connection was down, Jeff. I can't hear you, Jeff.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there.
Mute button.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah, but I was saying I don't think this is some people were wanting to jump off Poplar Street Bridge, and there were friends of ours, other podcasts saying, "Don't make a move. We're done this season. I don't want to see the Blues give any assets for a team that's not going anywhere." I'm like, Jesus Christ, we just dominated the NHL, flat out dominated for a year, a calendar year, and then we go on a 12-game stretch where we struggle to get wins, and some people want to throw in the towel. I'm like, it's 12 games. You can't go in a slump ever? What is the deal here? That's crazy to me.
Right.
It happens to everybody, even great teams.
I would
go in a
rather
slump.
and this is something a lot of people said, I'd rather they have the slump now as opposed to at the beginning of April. You know,
right.
Go ahead and do it now. And yeah, if beginning of April, they suck still, then there's a problem. But right now, I'm not worried about that.
So I think that's
Right.
that's the bipolar nature of sports fans in general. I think
Right.
Blues fans are no different, if not worse.
Yeah. No, I mean, hell, I was angry after every loss.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
be angry, be upset, be annoyed, but but keep things in perspective. You know,
Right.
long term. You know,
Right.
it's a slump. No one likes slumps. I'm with you.
And
I'll
don't
admit, I
express
was-
every
I
emotion
was-
on social media.
I'll admit, I
well,
was kind of in the ballpark of, you know what, this is silly, and people are freaking out, and they don't need to make a trade at all. But then I'll admit, I think it was right around the Bouwmeester injury where I finally started saying, you know what, make a deal, get a defenseman, get a forward if you can. Because I didn't start freaking out at all, but it was just, you know what, if you can improve, go ahead and improve. Just do it. And a lot of people throwing in the towel already. It's like, no, come on, just calm down. It's still only February. Yes, they had a ridiculous stretch last year in February, but they had a ridiculous stretch throughout the first part of the year. So they've built themselves a cushion. Let's see if they can work themselves out of it.
The Blues have now played well, very well, over the last 8 periods, if my math is correct. Dominating New Jersey and Nashville last 2 games, playing very well in the final 2 periods against Nashville on Saturday. Didn't get the win in either of the games against Nashville, but probably should have won both. Definitely, they could have won the one on Sunday.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, and then beat the inferior New Jersey team. So, yeah, I'm fine with this team. I'm actually, it's you could spin this positively too. You could say, this facing some adversity is a good thing, as opposed to just racking up wins all season long. Look at Tampa Bay last season. So
Right.
Well, we talked about
if
this.
You just keep the same thing going over and over, and you get results without adversity. It becomes I don't want to say expected, but you take it for granted. And to face adversity that's a great point. It makes you realize we still have to make adjustments to make things work.
yeah, and that's you could argue that's spinning it, but I mean that's a valid look at it based on way things have gone in the past with teams. So I don't know. It's a good team. We all know this. It's a good team. It's arguably better than last season. I mean, well, coming into the season, we all thought this team was better than the one last season. And the start they got off to this season, the first half of the year, was fantastic, which was proven so, even though Falk wasn't playing as well as we thought he would. Because coming in the season, you move Edmondson for Falk. We all thought that was an upgrade. And then not signing Maroon, personally, I thought that was addition by subtraction. You get more playing time for Blay and stuff, and he's a better player. So I thought this team's a better team. More experience for Bennington, hopefully. And again, that was kind of a question mark too coming in the season was Bennington, because the same question mark as the season before, the season before when we made the move for Riley and got Perron and Bozak, and we're like, okay, we're set. We're a good team. Only question mark in goal. And then after the Cup win, really for me the question was still in goal as far as like, will Bennington maintain what he's done? He hasn't done what he did last year, but he hasn't been awful. He needs to be better, but I think he's shown he can be, so we'll see.
Right.
Every goalie has slumps.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm excited to see what Bennington does now after he got a shutout. Granted, it's against New Jersey, who just traded probably their top scorer, or one of their top offensive threat wingers before that game.
Yeah.
But
his last 4 games, do I have this in here somewhere? I thought I did. Maybe I don't. His last 4 games, he's played very well. He even the game he allowed 6. I thought
he played great
against Vegas. He was fantastic. He was one of his better games of the season. He allowed 6 goals, and people will say, "Oh, he allowed 6 goals. There's no way he can play well." Bullshit. You watch the game.
He made 50 saves in that game.
Yeah. You watch the game. There's so much with stats that are just not applicable to real life. Your eye test is trumps
well, and
all.
let's add in the emotional factor of this is the game coming out after Jay Bouwmeester's collapse, and he was able to still put up 50 saves in a game. I mean, that's impressive. And this is something we talked about a couple weeks ago, Kurt. I think you were the one that said this when the slump first kind of started. Well, how does the team look? How are they reacting to issues? How are they playing in the games? You look at the Blues last season when they were struggling early in the year. We were all saying, okay, this ain't working. They don't look like a team that can win games. They're not. The strategy's not there. The chemistry's not there. But you guys have basically been saying it about these last couple games. It's there. They've got the chemistry. They're breaking out just fine. They look great in the neutral zone. They look good in the offensive zone. Just haven't been able to put the puck in the net as much. And defensively, they've been a little but not terrible. And same thing with the goaltending. Not bad, but not terrible. So they've looked fine. It's just a matter of, okay, start putting the puck in the net more, build that confidence. They're going to be fine going forward. And I really think you're going to start to see that, because I thought they had 2 really good games against Nashville. You guys mentioned they scored 5 goals against Vegas, who's a good team. And then obviously, played well against a mediocre Devils team. So they've looked fine. It's just a matter of racking up the wins. And I think you're going to start to see that push a little bit more right now.
So trade deadline, the Blues have some cap space. It all hinges on if Tarasenko comes back before the playoffs or not, whether they have the extra cap space of his or not. And I'm going to conspiracy theory you guys a little bit here. And I'm going to flip it around. Everyone is saying our ability to acquire his top 6 forward relies entirely on when Tarasenko returns, right? But I think it's entirely possible that Tarasenko's return could be dictated by our ability to acquire or not acquire a top 6 forward at or before the deadline. Meaning if we can get a top 6 guy, then the decision will be made to hold Tarasenko back so we have the cap space. If we can't get the top 6 guy, then Tarasenko comes back in late March. Because of the whole, if you understand the cap issues with if Tarasenko is out until the playoffs start, then we have $6.5 million in cap space extra, whatever it is, that we can, if he comes back before the playoffs, we have to shed that cap space. So we essentially can't add anybody really if he comes back early. So I'm thinking that they'll hold him back to playoffs, and they'll use that. Well, I'm thinking that if they can get a guy and have a deal in place, okay, we can get this guy. Now Tarasenko doesn't come back into playoffs. Otherwise, he comes back.
Well,
early.
and isn't that a weird scenario? Because if the Blues go out and get the guy, well, we've got the long term. We know Vladdy's not going to be ready until late April, but then somehow miraculously, it's oh shit, he could play the end of the regular season. That's an odd situation. What do you do? Because, I mean, I guess what? You would have to send somebody through waivers, right? To get him back on the roster.
You would have to send somebody through waivers, and I guess so. And
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way around it because you can't make a trade. You can't.
unless somebody's got a one-way contract if they send him down, they could send him down, and then his salary wouldn't count against the cap because a two-way contract. The salary counts against the cap regardless. How's that work? That's
Right.
how that works, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but a one-way contract has to clear waivers.
Right.
Yep.
No.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's complicated. You know, I don't think that's what dictates. Like, you know, they need to have as much information as possible to make a calculated decision about whether or not he's going to come back. Right.
which they were supposed to find that out on the 15th.
Right.
But I think they're going to find out, in the next couple of days.
And the decision
Yeah.
for Armstrong will come down to, is he panicking now that Dallas has caught up to us in the standings, that we've shed enough? We had this huge lead, now we've shed it. You know, do we need a push? Do we need an asset, a guaranteed asset to come in and contribute to this team over the course of the majority of March? Or can we wait till the end? Can we get enough production from these other guys? Is Oscar Sundqvist coming back into the lineup going to stabilize it and allow the team to get back to producing as it was?
Here's
Well,
the deal.
David Perron started putting the puck on the net again.
Well, yeah. Armstrong said that if Tarasenko comes back before playoffs start, which is he hinted that was a possibility now, that it would be a hockey trade. Any trades made at the deadline would be a hockey trade, meaning salary. We'd have to move salary. It wouldn't be for picks or prospects because we'd have to shed salary to acquire salary. And so then you're looking at the roster. Now you're looking at guys like Sanford, who makes $1.5 million. You're looking at guys like Barbashev. You're looking at guys like, those are the two guys that popped to mind. Bozak. So I mean, those are guys that, and Bozak, he's got one more year on his contract. So that's why I think if he can make a trade to acquire somebody with picks prospects, then I think they hold Tarasenko back. Because that just throws a wrench into the whole window thing as well.
I think at this point it's a matter of, okay, can we make a deal at the deadline? If we can get somebody, whether it's for draft picks or for a roster player or whoever, then we'll do that if we can. And if that's the case, okay, can we afford to bring Tarasenko back before the playoffs? And if the answer is no, it's, hey, NHL, Vladdy, he's just not ready to go. And then, hey, Vladdy, you're going to all of a sudden just feel much better for game one of the playoffs, like we saw with Chicago a couple years ago.
And that's fine. I
think it all just hinges on what deals are going to be at Armstrong's disposal, and is he willing to make those trades? And if the answer is yes, even if that means taking up Tarasenko's cap hit, then all of a sudden we're going to get creative with bringing Tarasenko back for the playoffs, and that's it.
Yeah,
All right,
that's exactly what I said. Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm going to give you the deepest analysis we've heard on the
Ooh,
show.
yes.
All right, ready?
I'm intrigued.
Ready? So Armstrong's going to try his best to bring in somebody, and then if it doesn't work out, it's okay because Tarasenko coming back, it's just like making a trade.
Yeah. See, but the whole thing with
Just
with
like making
and that's going to be
trade.
said. That's going to be said. But the whole thing with bringing somebody in is the fact that they be here in addition to Tarasenko. That's the whole thing. But yeah, I get it.
But that's okay. If you can't bring somebody in,
Right.
you bring him back.
He did say that.
It's
He
just like-
said that on the air when Erica Weston was interviewing him. He basically said, well, if Tarasenko is probably the best acquisition we can make at the deadline, or if we don't make it a trade, Tarasenko is the best option we have anyway. Essentially saying the same thing that people make fun of. So
With different words.
he smirked when he said it too. So I think he
Right.
knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
If the Blues had an opportunity to make a hockey trade where they could acquire a top 6 forward, and the package deal and shedding salary, and the package deal would include trading Jake Allen, would you?
Yes.
Yes. Package Jake Allen, Zach Sanford, and Justin Falk.
Oh wow, Jesus!
Oh, I thought we were just talking about unloading everybody we hate.
I was gonna say, yeah. What is this?
Oh my
Another
God.
Ryan O'Reilly trade?
Who is this?
But Jeremy Rutherford tweeted pictures of Tarasenko skating and shooting.
Yeah,
He's coming back.
No,
I can skate and shoot. I'm not.
I
Playing
tell
for
you
him.
what. I tell you what. Why I make that trade, because at this point in the year, it's all about, okay, who do you have for the playoffs? And no offense to Jake Allen, because he's had a couple strong playoff games here and there. You're relying on Jordan Binnington at this point to do what he did last year. So if this is the question in October, November, I'd say probably not. I don't move Allen unless it's a ridiculous trade. But if you can move him now, and like I said, if you have somebody else that could step in and maybe play 1 or 2 games in the regular season and then rely on Binnington for the playoffs, I make that deal every time, because we're
Jeff.
not relying on Jake Allen to be a playoff goalie.
Jeff, if Allen's not here in the playoffs, who's going to mimic the opposing goalie to warm up our team for the opposing goalie?
Bill Day. That's an easy answer.
Who's going to do that? Apparently, he's the only goalie that can do that. Coming into tonight, the Blues sit atop the Western Conference with a 33-17-10 record, good for 76 points. 2 points. Well, Dallas won tonight, so they're tied with Dallas.
Update your stats, man.
Even games played. This is all hush with you. 3 points ahead of injury play Colorado. They're winning, right? You said
3-0.
okay. They're going to win. So it's they'll be 1 point ahead of Colorado by the end of the night. Will have one game in hand. So it's all those top 3 teams in the West are essentially all right up there, neck and neck tied. The Blackhawks are in last in the Central coming into tonight's game versus the New York Rangers. I thought I'd toss that out there.
And they lost 6-3.
They lost 6-3, so they're still in last place. Wah wah. Next up for the Blues, 9 p.m. tomorrow night, Thursday night in Vegas versus the Vegas Golden Knights. They sit 4th in the Pacific, 4-4-2 in the last 10. Lost their last game versus Minnesota 4-0. Colorado plays Washington on Thursday as well.
You said the Blues are playing Vegas?
I'm sorry,
Coyotes.
that's wrong. Coyotes.
They're playing the Coyotes tomorrow night in St. Louis.
Coyotes.
And the
in
Coyotes
St.
are
Louis.
on a back-to-back.
That was-
they're the team that lost
Yeah.
to the Stars.
They lost tonight. That was leftover stats from last week that I had merged by mistake.
That's fine.
Yeah. Hey, good show, guys.
Yeah.
Arizona, playoff team right now, right? Are they still in the playoffs right now?
Yeah.
Are they? Are they outside looking in?
They were. I thought they were the cutoff on the.
And
They
have
are. They are.
they have had the Blues' number as of late.
Did
so
Winnipeg play tonight? Because
Um,
they're trailing them by 1 point, or they were.
so the Jets did not play tonight.
Yeah, Arizona is 1 point up on the Jets. They have 2 games in hand then. So essentially they're out
What?
of the wild card spot. Nashville has 4 games in hand. Did they play tonight, Nashville?
No.
Nashville has 4 games in hand on Arizona, and they're only
They lost last night to.
they're only 3
Carolina.
points out.
3 points out with 4 games in hand. So they're
Yeah.
they're looking
Nashville
pretty good too.
could potentially still make it. And I hate to tell you, man,
That would be
Nashville
a
or
shit
Arizona,
first round matchup for the Blues.
I don't want either of
I would
those
love
teams
it.
in the first
Yeah.
round.
Give me Nashville. I don't care. Give it to me. Give me Nashville.
Nope.
Would love it.
No, thank you.
Yes. Give me Nashville.
We don't need to prove ourselves anymore. Just give us the
Give
easiest route.
us
That's all I
Nashville.
need.
I want to revenge from a few years ago.
Nope. Give me Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Vancouver!
Except they're going to win the division.
Yeah. Well. We gotta go. This is a long show. We gotta go. That'll wrap up episode 52 of season 8 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast. Let's Go Blues Radio. Thank you for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube chat during the live show. We hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Kurt Price, I am Bill Day. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
You're a liar.
What?
You just said you're Bill Day.
Oh, did I?
You did. I thought you did that on purpose.
I'm trying to do two things at once here. This is hilarious. Maybe it was on purpose. Maybe
That's
it
like
was.
spelling your name wrong on
Maybe
a
it was.
test.
I'm not Bill Day. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Did I say for Jeff Ponder and Kurt Price, I'm Bill Day?
Yes, you did.
It's late.
Let's go Blues.
Proof positive this show went too long. Let's go Blues.
This is Kurt Price, and let's go Blues.
Weird. Okay.
Right.
It
That
didn't
was awesome.
the closing audio didn't. Did you hear the closing audio, Jeff?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah,
I never hear anything.
It didn't play. I don't know why it didn't play.
Yeah, but I did a spot on rendition, so it's all good.
You couldn't hear us. The mics aren't in that part of it. I don't think they were.
That's too bad. But you recorded
That
it locally.
that was so goddamn funny. I'm Bill Day. I seriously thought you did that on purpose.
I know. I was trying. I forgot to build the stage for the closing stage, and as I started the closing, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta do this while I'm talking. So I'm trying to talk while I do that, and yeah.
I could see from his face that he wasn't making it funny. So I had to call him.
Oh God, that was so funny.
I guess we'll use it as a sound clip at some point.
Best ending
Oh,
ever.
so good. Yeah, I might have to use that in the summer series. That was so funny. You're a liar. I like how Bill called you out.
You're a liar.
You're a bald-faced liar.
No, that's what I get for trying
that
to do.
was so good.
That's yeah. My mind doesn't work that way, I guess.
All right.
All right,
I'm
I gotta
going
go.
home.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah, good show, guys.
Yep. See ya.
Good show, sir.
Yep. See you, boys.
See ya.